The chamber was massive, built to hold representatives from 14 different species. The ceiling stretched so high that clouds sometimes formed near the top. Deho stood in the center circle, his hands clasped behind his back. He had been Earth's ambassador for 30 years. He knew what was coming. The Vexari council leader stood up. His name was Quenthor, and he was twice as tall as any human. His forearms moved as he spoke, a sign of importance in his culture. "We have made our decision," Quenthor said. His voice echoed through the chamber. "Humanity will leave galactic space. You have 100 standard cycles. Take your people, your ships, and your weapons. Go back to your home system. Do not return." Silence filled the chamber. The other species watched Deho carefully. They expected him to shout, to argue, to threaten. Humans were known for their emotions, their quick tempers, their stubborn pride. Deho simply nodded. "We understand. We will be gone before your deadline." Quenthor's face showed surprise. His translator struggled to match the expression. "You do not wish to appeal? To defend your species?" "No," Deho said. "You have made your choice. We will respect it." An Ulthan representative named Threndak leaned forward. The Ulthan looked like giant insects with 6 legs and crystalline eyes. "Ambassador, surely you must have questions, concerns. This is your species' future." Deho looked around the chamber. He saw judgment on every face. Fear, too. They were afraid of humanity, afraid of what humans might become. "I have one question," Deho said. "Will you allow our ship safe passage during the evacuation?" "Yes," Quenthor said. "We are not monsters. Your people may leave in peace. Then we have nothing more to discuss." Deho bowed slightly, a human gesture of respect. Then he turned and walked toward the exit. Behind him, the council members whispered to each other. This was not how they expected it to go. Where was the human fire? Where was their famous defiance? Deho reached his ship 3 hours later. It was a small diplomatic vessel, nothing impressive. Captain Mireille was waiting for him in the main cabin. She was young, only 35, but she commanded Earth's first deep space exploration ship. Her uniform was crisp and clean. "How bad?" she asked. "Complete expulsion. 100 cycles." Deho sat down heavily. He suddenly looked very old. Mireille's face remained calm. "Did you tell them?" "Tell them what?" "That we saw this coming 2 years ago. That we've been preparing." Deho smiled just a little. "No. Let them think we're scrambling. Let them think they won." Across the solar system, other humans were receiving the news. On Luna, Engineer Hyon stood in the control room of the Gateway project. Screens surrounded him, showing construction progress on something massive near Jupiter. His team had been working for 18 months. Only a few hundred people in the entire human government knew what they were building. "We need more time," his assistant said. She was looking at the timeline. "We have exactly 100 cycles," Hyun said. "We'll make it work." On Mars, in the red dust colonies, Administrator Jiwon was already organizing evacuations. 40 million people lived in the outer system now. Getting them all back to Earth would be complicated. But Jiwon had been planning for this. She had contingency lists, supply chains, transport schedules. Everything was ready. She called her staff together. "The council has expelled us. We're going home." Her deputy looked shocked. "They can't do that. We have rights, treaties." "Not anymore," Jiwon said. "Start the protocols. Priority 1, populations first. No panic, no rush. We do this properly." In the Antarctic Research Station on Earth, Dr. Bora was reading the official expulsion notice. Around her, quantum computers hummed. They were working on something the council didn't know about. Something that would change everything. Her colleague entered the lab. "What do we do?" "We finish," Bora said simply. "We were close anyway. Now we have a deadline." Admiral Tajan received the news aboard his flagship in orbit around Earth. He commanded Earth's defensive fleet. 200 ships, nothing compared to the might of the Galactic Council's military. But they were good ships. Fast ships. He called his captains together on a secure channel. "Gentlemen, ladies, we're leaving. Begin departure protocol immediately. No weapons hot. No aggressive postures. We leave peacefully." "Sir," one captain said, "they're forcing us out. Doesn't that deserve a response?" "Our response," Tajan said coldly, "is to leave with dignity. Show them that humans know when to walk away. And remember, walking away is not the same as giving up." Over the next 20 cycles, the galaxy watched humanity's response. Spy satellites monitored human space. Intelligence officers filed reports. Everyone expected something. A military buildup. Secret meetings. Angry protests. Instead, they saw organization. Human ships began moving inward, away from the frontier. Stations were carefully shut down, not abandoned. Supplies were packed. Colonists were transported home. The council met again to discuss the situation. "They're complying," Quenthor said. He sounded almost disappointed. "Too compliant," Threndak added. "Humans don't just accept defeat. Something is wrong." A representative from the Yathara species spoke up. The Yathara were neutral, not part of the council's decision. "Perhaps you misjudge them. Perhaps they are simply choosing peace." "Perhaps," Quenthor said. But he didn't believe it. What the council didn't see were the encrypted messages flowing between human colonies, the quiet acceleration of the Jupiter project, the volunteers boarding ships for a one-way journey, the children being taught that they would never see Earth's sky again. Deho stood on Earth looking up at the stars. Mirai stood beside him. "Do you think we're doing the right thing?" she asked. "They gave us no choice," Deho said. "But maybe that's a gift. Maybe we needed someone to push us out of the nest." "Where we're going," Mirai said quietly. "There's no coming back." "I know." Deho smiled. "That's the point." Above them, stars glittered. Somewhere out there, beyond the council's reach, beyond their rules and their fear, was something new. Something humans would build themselves. The countdown had begun. 100 cycles until departure. No threats were made. No promises were given. Humanity simply began to leave. The first transport ships left Mars 3 weeks after the Council's announcement. Jiwan watched them go from the observation deck of Central Command. Each ship carried 5,000 people. Their belongings, their hopes, everything they could take from the red world they had called home. "How many more?" her deputy asked. 87 more flights, Jiwan said. "Then we're done here." The deputy looked around the command center. It had taken humans 40 years to build these colonies. Now they were leaving it all behind. "What happens to this place?" "Nothing," Jiwan said. "We lock the doors and leave. Maybe someday someone else will use it. Maybe it will just sit here empty forever." She didn't sound sad, just tired. On Luna, the Gateway project was entering its final phase. Engineer Hyon barely slept anymore. The structure near Jupiter was enormous, bigger than anything humans had ever built. It needed to be. 47,000 ships would pass through it. "Power conduits are at 60%, his assistant reported. "We need 80, Jan said. "How long?" 40 cycles. Maybe less if we push the teams." "Push them?" Jan looked at the screen showing the gateway's skeleton. It looked like a ring made of light and metal, floating in space near Jupiter's massive gravity well. "This has to work. If it doesn't, we have nowhere to go." His assistant hesitated. "Do you know where it leads?" "Yes, and?" Jan smiled. "You'll see when we get there. Everyone will." The Vexari had observation posts watching human activity. Commander Plethros was stationed at one of them, monitoring the solar system. His reports went directly to the council. "Activity levels are normal," he told his superiors. "Ships moving inward. No military buildup. No sign of resistance, but there was something that bothered him. The energy readings near Jupiter were strange, big, growing every day." "What are they building?" Quenthor asked during one briefing. "Unknown," Plethros said. "The structure is massive, but it appears to be civilian construction, perhaps a monument." "Humans are emotional creatures. Keep watching," Quenthor ordered. "Report anything unusual." What Plethros didn't understand was that the Gateway didn't use technology the Council knew. Dr. Bora and her team in Antarctica had developed it in secret, based on theories that violated several laws of physics the Council believed were absolute. "Quantum tunneling on a macro scale," Bora explained to her team. "We're not moving through space. We're folding it." "The Council will detect the activation," someone said. "Yes," Bora agreed, for about 3 seconds. "Then we'll be gone and the tunnel will collapse. No trace, no signature. No way to follow." "Where did you even get this theory?" Bora smiled. "Humans ask different questions than other species. We look at problems differently. That's why they're afraid of us." Admiral Tajan was coordinating the military evacuation. Every warship, every fighter, every military installation had to be cleared out. But he was doing something else too. Something the Council's observers didn't notice. Every abandoned human outpost was being stripped clean. Every piece of technology removed. Every database wiped. Not destroyed, just taken. Carefully packed and loaded onto transport ships. Why are we taking everything? A young officer asked. Because we might need it later, Taejin said, and because we don't leave gifts for people who throw us out. The officer understood. It wasn't anger. It was practicality. On Earth, billions of people waited for their turn to leave. Not everyone was going. Some chose to stay behind, mostly the old, those who couldn't imagine leaving their birth world. The government said they could remain. Earth would stay human even if every colony was abandoned. But most people were going, especially the young. They saw this as an adventure, not an exile. 10-year-old Yoonji stood with her parents at the orbital elevator station. Her small bag contained everything she owned. A tablet, some clothes, a picture of her grandparents. Where are we going? She asked her mother. Somewhere new, her mother said. Somewhere better. Will we come back? Her mother knelt down to look her in the eyes. No, baby. This is goodbye to Earth. Yoonji looked up at the sky. She had never seen it from space. She was excited and scared at the same time. Okay, she said. I'm ready. 60 cycles into the evacuation, the council received a report that made them uneasy. The Ulthan intelligence officer Draveen brought it to Quenthor personally. The humans have cleared out everything, Draveen said. Not just people. Technology, equipment, data. They're taking it all. So? Quenthor said. We told them to leave. Yes, but they're being very thorough. Almost like they're planning never to return. Good, Quenthor said. That's what we want. But Draveen wasn't convinced. He had studied humans for decades. They were pack rats. They left traces everywhere they went. This level of cleanliness was unusual. There's something else, Draveen said. The structure near Jupiter. Our best analysis says it's some kind of gateway. A wormhole generator. Impossible, Quenthor said. That technology doesn't exist. We've tried for centuries. Humans have only been in space for 300 years, Draveen said. Yet they're attempting it anyway. Let them try, Quenthor said dismissively. It won't work. And even if it does, they'll just be farther away from us. Problem solved. Captain Mirai was overseeing the assembly of the colony fleet. Her ship, the New Dawn, would lead the exodus. Behind her would be 47,000 vessels. Everything from massive colony ships carrying millions to small personal craft with just a family aboard. Everyone gets to go, she told her crew. No one left behind who wants to leave. The logistics were nightmare, but humans were good at logistics. They had organized the evacuation like a military operation. Every ship had a departure time, a place in the formation, a role to play. What if the gateway doesn't work? Her first officer asked. Then we all die together in the cold of space, Mirai said simply. But it will work. Hyun doesn't fail. On cycle 94, something changed. The human broadcast stopped. For 93 cycles, Earth had been sending out normal traffic. News, entertainment, communications. Then it all went quiet. The council noticed immediately. Why have they gone silent? Quenthor demanded. No one had an answer. Then on the 94th cycle, one final transmission came through. It was broadcast on every frequency, every channel. Impossible to miss. Director Sianwoo appeared on screens across the galaxy. He was an older man, gray-haired, wearing a simple suit. He looked tired but calm. To the Galactic Council and all member species, he began. Humanity acknowledges your decision. We will honor our agreement to depart. We bear no ill will. We thank those who showed us friendship. We wish you all peace and prosperity, he paused. The entire galaxy was listening. This is our final transmission, goodbye. The screen went dark. That was it. No threats, no curses. No dramatic speeches about returning someday. Just goodbye. The council chamber erupted in confused discussion. That's all? Quenthor said. After everything, they just say goodbye? Draveen was studying the transmission data. This was sent from every human facility simultaneously. Then they all went dark. Every station. Every relay, everything. What does that mean? It means they're ready, Draveen said quietly. Whatever they're planning, it happens now. In space near Jupiter, the gateway hummed with power. Every human ship was moving into formation. Families said last prayers. Children pressed against windows to look at Earth one final time. Engineer Hyon stood in the central control station. His finger hovered over the activation switch. All ships report ready, his assistant said. Hyon took a breath. Then he activated the gateway. Light exploded across the solar system. The gateway opened like an eye opening in space. Light poured out brighter than Jupiter itself. For a moment, every sensor in the solar system went blind from the energy surge. Captain Mirai stood on the bridge of the new dawn. Her crew was silent, watching the massive ring structure activate. Through the center of the ring, space itself was folded. Beyond it was somewhere else, somewhere far away. All ships, Mirai said into her comm. This is New Dawn. We're going in. Follow my lead. Stay in formation. See you on the other side. The New Dawn's engines fired. The massive colony ship moved forward. It carried 3 million people. 3 million lives depending on Engineer Hyan's calculations being correct. Depending on Dr. Bora's theories being real. The ship approached the gateway. Mirai could see the distortion in space like looking through water. Her hands were steady on the controls. 10 seconds, her pilot said. Keep speed constant. 5 seconds. The ship entered the gateway. For a moment, everything went white. Then the New Dawn was somewhere else. The transition took less than a second. Status, Mirai called out. All systems normal, her engineer reported. Hull intact. Life support functioning. We made it. Through the view screen, Mirai could see stars. Different stars. Constellations she had never seen before. Behind the ship, the gateway still glowed. And through it, she could see the solar system. See Earth, see Jupiter. Welcome to our new home, she said quietly. Back in the solar system, the galaxy watched. Observer ships from every major species surrounded the area. They recorded everything. The gateway. The departing ships. The end of humanity's presence in council space. Commander Plethros couldn't believe what he was seeing. That's impossible. Wormhole technology doesn't work on this scale. But it was working. Ship after ship entered the gateway and vanished. Colony vessels. Cargo haulers. Military ships. Personal craft. 47,000 ships moving in perfect order. Where does it lead? Plethros asked his science officer. Unknown. The other end could be anywhere. We can't track it. The Ulthan observer, Draveen, was recording everything. His crystalline eyes reflected the gateway's light. They built this in less than 100 cycles. How is that possible? Humans work fast when motivated, his assistant said. No, Draveen said. They started building this before the expulsion. They knew. They were ready. On Mars, the last evacuation ships were lifting off. G1 watched from the final transport. Below, the red planet was empty now. The colonies dark, the dome sealed but abandoned. Goodbye, Mars, she said. Then her ship turned and headed for the gateway. On Luna, Hyan watched the power levels. The gateway was stable, but it was consuming enormous energy. It couldn't stay open forever. How long can we maintain this? He asked. 72 hours, his assistant said. Maybe 80 if we push it. That's enough. Most ships will be through in 48 hours. The evacuation was running like clockwork. Every ship knew its departure time. Every captain had their orders. This was humanity's greatest logistical achievement, and they were doing it under the eyes of the entire galaxy. Young Yunji sat with her parents aboard a mid-sized transport. Around them, 500 other families waited their turn to go through the gateway. Yunji pressed her face against the window, watching other ships disappear into the light. Does it hurt? She asked. No, her father said. It's just like passing through a door to where? Her father smiled. Somewhere we can be ourselves. Admiral Tajan was aboard the Final Horizon, his flagship. It would be one of the last military vessels through. His job was to make sure everyone else got through first, sir, his tactical officer said. The Vexari have moved more observer ships into the area. Let them watch, Tajan said. We're not doing anything hostile. We're just leaving. They seem nervous. Good, Tajan said. Let them be nervous. Maybe they'll remember this feeling next time they think about expelling someone. The hours passed. Ship after ship disappeared through the gateway. The observer vessels recorded it all. Some species felt relief. Some felt unease. A few felt regret. On the Yathara observation ship, Captain Yathara spoke with her science team. The Yathara had voted against the expulsion. They were neutral, philosophical beings who believed in coexistence. This is wrong, Yathara said. We're watching something historic. The birth of a new human era, and we caused it by pushing them away. Perhaps they'll be better off, her science officer suggested. Perhaps, Yathara said. But we'll never know. They're leaving forever. In the council chamber, Quenthor watched the feed from the observer ships. The gateway glowed on his screen. Ship after ship passing through. How many have left? He asked. 32,000 ships so far, an aide reported. Estimated 15,000 remain. And we still don't know where they're going? No, sir, the gateway leaves no trackable signature. Once they're through, they're gone completely. Quenthor felt something strange. Not quite regret, but not satisfaction either. They're really leaving. No fight, no resistance, just leaving. Isn't that what we wanted? The aide asked. Yes, Quenthor said. But I expected more drama from humans. They're usually so emotional. What Quenthor didn't understand was that this was human emotion, not anger or rage, but dignity. Pride. The decision to walk away rather than beg. On the 67th hour of the evacuation, only a few hundred ships remained. The gateway was starting to flicker. Power levels were dropping. We need to speed this up, Yun said. The gateway won't last much longer. The remaining ships increased their pace. One every 30 seconds now. The line of vessels moving steadily toward the light. Admiral Tajin received a message from Mirai on the other side. Admiral, we're ready for you. Everything here is secure. Acknowledged, Tajin said. Final ships are moving through now. He looked at his crew. These were people who had dedicated their lives to protecting humanity. Now they were leaving everything they knew behind. Any regrets? He asked his bridge crew. No, sir, they said in unison. Then let's go home. Our new home. The military ships began moving through. Destroyers, cruisers, carriers. Each one disappearing into the light. Taijin's flagship would be the last. On Earth, old Daiho stood at the space center. He was too old to go, too tired. He had spent his life in diplomatic service and he would die on humanity's birth world. But he was proud of what humanity had accomplished. They're almost through, his aide told him. Good, Daiho said. No one was left behind who wanted to go. What about us? The ones who stayed? We'll be fine, Daiho said. Earth will always be here. And maybe someday they'll come back to visit. The final hour arrived. Only a dozen ships remained. The gateway was unstable now, flickering like a candle in the wind. But it held. The final horizon was the last ship. Tajin took one last look at the solar system. At Earth, blue and beautiful. At Mars, red and empty. At Luna and the asteroid belt and all the places humans had lived. Take us through, he ordered. The flagship moved forward, entered the gateway. The light surrounded them. Then they were gone. The moment the final horizon passed through, the gateway collapsed. The ring structure exploded in a shower of light and metal. The explosion was controlled, destroying any evidence of how the gateway worked. In seconds, there was nothing left. Just empty space near Jupiter. No gateway, no ships, no humans. The observer vessels sent their final reports. They're gone, Commander Plethros reported. All of them. 47,000 ships. Billions of people. Just gone. Any trace of where they went? Quenthor asked. None. The gateway destroyed itself. We have no way to track them. Quenthor sat back in his chair. The humans were gone. The council had expelled them and they had left. No war, no drama. They had simply departed. It's over, he said. But in his heart, Quenthor wondered if it was really over, or if it was just beginning. 50 years passed. The galaxy changed in those 5 decades. Without humanity's unpredictable presence, peace settled across council space like dust settling after a storm. Trade routes flourished. Borders were respected. Conflicts were resolved through discussion instead of force. The council called it the Golden Age. Councillor Velrith, an Olthan who had argued against expelling humanity, attended a celebration marking the 50th anniversary of the Exodus. Around him, representatives from all species congratulated each other on 50 years of peace. A toast, Quenthor's successor declared. He was a younger Vexari named Krenthus, who had been just a soldier when the humans left. To the Golden Age, may it last forever. Everyone raised their glasses. Everyone except Velrith, you disapprove? Asked the representative next to him, a traitor species called the Milvarn. I wonder what we lost, Velrith said quietly. When we pushed them out. We lost chaos, the Milvarn said. We lost danger. I'd say that's a fair trade, but Velrith wasn't convinced. He had studied human history. Their art, their literature, their music. They were chaotic, yes, but they were also creative, brilliant. They asked questions no one else thought to ask. Where were they now? What had they built in 50 years? No one knew. There had been no contact. No messages. No sightings. Humanity had vanished completely. Far from Council space, Explorer Kryn was doing what she always did, exploring. She was part of the Yathara species, the neutral philosophers who believed in understanding rather than judging. Her small ship traveled to forgotten corners of the galaxy, mapping old ruins and abandoned outposts. She had found something interesting. An old human mining station on a dead moon. It was one of the places humans had abandoned during their exodus. Most of these places were empty, stripped clean, but Kryn was thorough. She searched every room. In what used to be the station commander's office, she found a hidden compartment. Inside was a small data chip. Kryn plugged it into her systems. A message appeared, text only. Simple words, we were here. We moved on. Peace be with you, that was all. No coordinates, no hidden information. Just a farewell message left for whoever found it. Kryn stared at the message for a long time. She forwarded it to the Council along with her report. The Council barely noticed it. Just another abandoned human site. Nothing important. But Velrith noticed. He collected these reports. Over the years, exploration teams had found dozens of old human outposts. Every single one had been stripped of technology. Every single one had messages like this. Simple farewells. It was like humanity was erasing their own history, making sure nothing remained that could be traced or followed. Why? Velrith wondered. Why go to such lengths? His assistant suggested perhaps they wanted a clean break. No ties to their past. Or perhaps, Velrith said, they didn't want us to follow them. Life in Council space continued. Technology advanced, but slowly, steadily, the way it always had. Scientific discoveries were made through careful research and committee approval. Nothing too fast. Nothing too dangerous. The Vexari expanded their territory slightly. The Ulthan developed better quantum computers. The smaller species traded and prospered. Everything was orderly. Everything was safe and everything was boring. Some species didn't notice. They were content with peace and prosperity. But others, the younger ones, the curious ones, felt something was missing. An excitement. A spark. One young Vexari officer named Plethros, son of the commander who had watched the human exodus, joined exploration services. He wanted to see the galaxy, find new things, have adventures, but there wasn't much to discover anymore. The galaxy was mapped, cataloged, known. My father told me about the humans, Plethros said to his crew one day. He said they were always pushing boundaries, always trying new things. Sounds exhausting, his pilot said. Sounds exciting, Plethros corrected. On the Ulthan homeworld, scientists reviewed their progress over the past 50 years. Steady improvements in every field. Better computers, faster ships, more efficient power systems, but nothing revolutionary, nothing that changed the game. One scientist, a younger Ulthan named Dravik, looked at the old human research they had archived. Humans published everything, shared their knowledge freely, even their mistakes. Look at this, Dravik said to his colleagues. Humans attempted quantum tunneling on a macro scale. Everyone said it was impossible. It is impossible, his supervisor said. But they did it, Dravik pointed out. Their gateway worked. We all saw it, and then they destroyed it. Took the knowledge with them. Dravik felt frustrated. What else did they figure out that we haven't? What questions were they asking that we're not? Safe questions, his supervisor said firmly. Approved questions. The way science should be done, but Dravik wondered if that was really the best way. In the 40th year after the Exodus, something strange was reported. A patrol ship in the Outer Territories found a pirate base that had been shut down, not destroyed, just deactivated. The pirates were gone. Their ships disabled but intact. How? The patrol captain asked. Investigation showed the base's systems had been hacked by an unknown source. Whoever did it was skilled, very skilled. They left the pirates alive but took all their weapons and disabled their ships. Why would anyone do this? The captain wondered. Similar reports came in from different sectors. Pirate bases shut down, smuggler routes disrupted, but always cleanly. No violence, no destruction, just quiet neutralization. The council investigated but found no answers. No species claimed responsibility. It was a mystery. Velrith collected these reports too. He noticed a pattern. The disruption started in areas near old human territories. and they were moving outward slowly into unexplored space. Someone is out there, Velrith told the council. Someone with advanced technology and the ability to move unseen. Your obsession with the humans is unhealthy, Krenthis said. They've been gone for 40 years. They're not coming back. I'm not saying they're coming back, Velrith said. I'm saying they might still be out there, watching, working. To what end? I don't know, Velrith admitted. But doesn't that concern you? No, Krenthis said. If they're out there and not bothering us, then our decision was correct. We separated. Both sides moved on, but Velrith couldn't let it go. He requested permission to organize an exploration mission.
To follow the trail of disrupted pirate bases.
To see where they led, the council denied his request. We don't waste resources chasing ghosts, Krenthis said. So Velrith hired explorer Kryn privately. She was independent, not bound by council rules. Find them, Velrith said. Find any trace of humanity. I need to know what happened to them. Kryn took the job. She followed the trail of shut-down pirate bases. They led her farther and farther from council space, into regions that were barely mapped, where few species ever traveled. In one system, she found something interesting. A space station. Old but maintained. The design was unfamiliar. Not human, but not any council species either. She scanned it carefully. Life signs inside. Multiple species. None of them recognizable from council records. Kryn sent a message. This is Explorer Kryn of the Ithara. I come in peace. I'm looking for information. A response came back. The language was translated automatically. What information? I'm looking for humans, Kryn said. Have you seen them? Long pause. Then why? I want to know if they're safe. If they found a home, another pause. Then the station sent coordinates. Not to a human location, but to another station. Another group to ask. Keep following the trail, the voice said. You'll find what you're looking for, maybe. Kryn followed the coordinates. It led her to another station. Another group of species she didn't recognize. They gave her more coordinates. And so on. It was like following breadcrumbs. Each station knew a little. Each one pointed her farther out. After 3 months of travel, Kryn found herself in completely uncharted space. Her navigation systems didn't recognize any of the stars. And there, on a small moon, she found another message. Carved into rock this time. If you need us, and if you ask with respect, we will hear you. Below it, a frequency. A communication channel. Kryn sent her findings to Velrith. I found something. I think it's a way to contact them. Velrith brought it to the council immediately. We can reach them. The humans. They left a way to communicate. Why would we want to? Krenthis asked. Because, Velrith said. We might need them someday. The council laughed. Need the humans for what? We've managed perfectly well without them for 50 years. Velrith had no answer. Yet. 3 years after Kryn found the message, the Devourer swarm arrived. They came from beyond the galactic rim, from the dark space between galaxies. No one saw them coming until it was too late. The first system to die was on the outer edge of council space, a colony of the Rothian species, peaceful farmers who had lived there for centuries. Their distress signal was brief and confused. Something is attacking. Ships, machines, they're eating everything. Please help. Then silence. When the council's response fleet arrived 2 days later, the system was empty. Not destroyed, empty. Every planet stripped to bare rock. Every station gone. Every ship vanished. Nothing remained except dust and silence. What did this? The fleet commander asked. His science officer had no answer. The technology required to strip an entire system this completely didn't exist. Shouldn't exist, then it happened again. Another system. 3 days later, a Milvarn trading hub, 5 billion people. Gone in hours, the pattern became clear. The attackers moved fast. Consumed everything. Left nothing behind. And they were heading deeper into council space. The council emergency session was chaos. Everyone talking at once. Fear replacing the calm confidence of the Golden Age. We need to send the fleet, Krenthis said. Already deployed, reported Admiral Senthar, a military Vixari. Full battle group. 20,000 ships. That should be enough, someone said. It wasn't enough. The battle happened near a gas giant in the Peltor system. The council fleet met the swarm head-on. At first it seemed like victory was possible. The swarm ships were strange. Geometric shapes that moved wrong like they didn't follow normal physics. but Council weapons damaged them. Then the swarm adapted. Within minutes, the swarm ships changed. Their hulls absorbed energy weapons. Their shields deflected projectiles. Every tactic the Council used, the swarm countered instantly. Admiral Senthar's flagship was one of the last ships to escape. His fleet of 20,000 was reduced to 300 survivors. They learned, Senthar reported to the Council, his voice shaking. Every weapon we used, they adapted to. Every strategy we tried, they countered. It was like fighting a thinking machine that learned faster than we could adjust. How is that possible? Krenthis demanded. I don't know, Senthar said, but we can't beat them. Not with conventional tactics, the swarm continued its advance. System after system fell. The Council tried everything. Different weapons. Different strategies. New technologies developed in desperation. Nothing worked. The swarm adapted to everything. Panic spread across Council space. Species began evacuating their border worlds. Refugees flooded into core systems. The Golden Age was over, shattered in weeks. In the emergency meetings, species started blaming each other. Old grudges surfaced. The unity that had lasted 50 years crumbled under pressure. We need a new approach, Velrith said during one session. Something the swarm won't expect. Like what? Krenthis asked. We've tried everything. Not everything, Velrith said quietly. We haven't tried asking the humans for help. The chamber went silent. The humans are gone, Krenthis said. Even if we could find them, why would they help us? We expelled them. Because that's what humans do, Velrith said. They help. Even when they shouldn't, even when it doesn't benefit them. It's their nature. You're talking about a species we haven't seen in 53 years, another counselor said. We don't even know if they're still alive. We have a way to contact them, Velrith said. The frequency that explorer Kryn found. Krenthis shook his head. I won't beg the humans for help. We expelled them. We were right to do so. We'll solve this ourselves. How? Velrith challenged. Another fleet? More weapons? The swarm adapts to everything. We need something unpredictable. Something chaotic. Something human. No, Krenthis said firmly. We don't need them. We never did. But as more systems fell, opinions changed. The Ulthan homeworld was threatened. The Milvarn trade empire was collapsing. Even the mighty Vexari were retreating. In a desperate council session, with the swarm only weeks away from core worlds, the vote was called. Should we contact the humans and ask for help? The vote was close. Many voted no out of pride, but fear won over pride. The measure passed. Krenthis sat in defeat. This is a mistake. Maybe, Velrith said. But it's the only option we have left. The message took 3 days to write. Every word was debated. Pride fought against desperation with every sentence. Finally, they had something. Velrith read it aloud. To humanity, this is the Galactic Council. 53 years ago, we made a decision we now recognize as wrong. We expelled you from our space out of fear. We were afraid of your unpredictability, your rapid growth, your different way of thinking. We believed we would be safer without you. We were wrong. A threat has emerged that we cannot defeat, an enemy that adapts to everything we try. Our species are dying. Our worlds are being consumed. We are desperate. We are asking for your help. Not demanding, not ordering, asking. If you receive this message, if you remember us, if you can find it in yourselves to help those who wronged you, please respond. We will understand if you choose not to, but we ask anyway, please. The chamber was silent when Velrith finished. Send it, Krenthis said quietly. On the frequency Kryn found, the message was transmitted. Then the council waited. 1 day passed. No response. 2 days. Nothing. 3 days. Silence. They're not answering, Krenthis said. Why would they? We threw them out. Give them time, Velrith said. The message has to travel. They have to receive it, decide, respond. It could take weeks, but he was worried too. Maybe the humans were gone. Maybe they had died in some far corner of the galaxy. Maybe they simply didn't care anymore. On the 4th day, as another system fell to the swarm, a response came. 3 words, simple, direct. We hear you. The council chamber erupted. Some in joy, some in relief, some in shame. They're coming? Krenthis asked. It didn't say that, Velrith pointed out. It just said they hear us. Another message came through an hour later. This one longer. We are discussing your request. A decision will be made soon. In the meantime, evacuate system Pelthor 7. The swarm will reach it in 2 days. Get your people out. The council was stunned. How did the humans know where the swarm would attack next? They evacuated Pelthor 7 anyway. 2 days later, exactly as predicted, the swarm arrived. The humans were right. They're watching, Centaur realized. They've been watching us all along. For how long? Krenthis wondered. Maybe for all 50 years, Velrith said. Maybe they never really left. They just moved out of sight. More messages came over the next week, each one giving intelligence on the swarm. Movement patterns, attack predictions, information that saved lives, but still no answer on whether they would help fight. Then, on the 10th day, as the swarm approached the Ulthan homeworld, something appeared at the edge of the system. Ships, lots of ships. But they weren't council ships, and they weren't swarm ships. They were something else entirely. Explorer Kryn was the first to see them clearly. Her sensors showed sleek vessels with technology she didn't recognize, weapons that read like nothing in council databases, shields that operated on principles that shouldn't work. Who are they? She transmitted to the council. A response came. Not from the council, from the ships themselves. This is Admiral Mirai of the Coalition Fleet. We're here to help. But first we need to talk. Mirai. The name was in the records. She had been the captain of the New Dawn, the ship that led humanity's exodus 53 years ago. She was back, but she wasn't alone. The council gathered in emergency session to receive the transmission. On the main screen, a hologram appeared. It was Admiral Mirai, but she looked different. Older, yes, but also more confident, more at peace. Behind her, the chamber was filled with beings the council had never seen. Dozens of different species working together at various stations. Some looked insectoid, others reptilian. Some were energy beings. All of them moved with purpose and coordination. Thank you for allowing us to speak, Mirai said. Her voice was calm. I'm Admiral Mirai. I was captain of the New Dawn when we left 53 years ago. Krenthis stepped forward. Admiral, we appreciate your response to our call for help. Are you here to assist us against the swarm? Mirai paused before answering. Yes, but not in the way you're expecting. Before we discuss that, you need to understand what happened to us after we left. The hologram shifted. It showed a massive fleet of ships emerging from the gateway all those years ago, then traveling through strange space, stars that weren't in any charts. When you expelled us, Mirai continued, we didn't run away in defeat. We went exploring, looking for a place where we belonged, where we could be ourselves without fear or judgment. The image showed planets, stations, civilizations, all different, all strange. We found something unexpected. We weren't the first species to be expelled from their homes. Dozens of others had been pushed out by various empires and councils over the centuries. Species that didn't fit, that were too chaotic, too unpredictable, too dangerous. Old Deho appeared in the hologram. Velrith recognized him from the records. Earth's former ambassador, the man who had accepted the expulsion with such quiet dignity. Deho's voice came through, a recording from years past. We found the exiled, the refused, the unwanted, and we built something together. Not an empire, not a council, a coalition, a family of misfits. The image shifted again, showing a massive space station unlike anything the council had ever built. It was beautiful and chaotic, organic and mechanical, structures that shouldn't fit together somehow working perfectly. We call it the Coalition of Free Peoples, Mirai said. 47 species working together, including humanity. Krenthis looked stunned. 47 species? But we've only encountered 19 in all our history. The galaxy is larger than you know, Mirai said, and it's full of beings you've never met. Beings who learned to hide from empires and councils. Beings who found freedom in the spaces between your stars. Velrith spoke up. So you've been out there for 50 years, building this coalition. Why didn't you contact us? Why would we? Mirai asked simply. You didn't want us. We found where we belonged. We had no reason to return. Then why are you here now? Mirai's expression softened. Because you asked. And because we don't let people suffer when we can help. Even people who wronged us, Dr. Bora appeared on screen. She was very old now, but her eyes were still sharp. We've been monitoring your space since we left. Making sure the swarm didn't follow us back. Making sure you were safe. You've been watching us, Krenthis said. For 50 years. Not actively, Bora said. We had automated systems, observers. We wanted to make sure that expelling us didn't bring disaster on you. Despite everything, we still cared about your survival. Engineer Hyon appeared next. When the swarm entered your space, we knew immediately. We've encountered them before. They're dangerous, adaptive, but beatable. You've fought the swarm before? Admiral Senthar asked, leaning forward. Yes, Hyon said. 6 years ago. They attacked one of our coalition worlds. We learned how they operate, how they think, how to beat them. Then teach us, Senthar said desperately. Please, our fleets are being destroyed. We will, Mirai said. But understand something first. We're not coming back to stay. We're not returning to Council space. We're here to help you, then we're leaving again. Why? Felrith asked. Because we don't belong here, Mirai said. We never did. The Council knew that 50 years ago. They were right to sense we were different. They were just wrong about that being a bad thing. Another figure appeared on the screen. Captain Tajan, still commanding the Final Horizon after all these years. The swarm is a technology-based entity. It learns by analyzing and absorbing tech. Every weapon you use teaches it how to defend against that weapon. Every strategy you try makes it smarter. So how do we fight something that learns from everything? Krenthis asked. You don't fight it with technology, Tajan said. You fight it with chaos, unpredictability. The one thing it can't easily adapt to. We don't understand, Senthar said. Mirai smiled. That's why you need us, and the Coalition. We think differently than you do. We improvise, we adapt. We change our approach constantly. The swarm can learn from patterns, but we don't use patterns. A young woman appeared on screen. It was Yunji, now grown up and wearing a captain's uniform. I was 10 when we left. I grew up in the Coalition. I learned to think like a dozen different species. To see problems from angles you've never considered. That's our strength. Diversity of thought. The hologram showed battle footage. Coalition ships fighting swarm vessels. The tactics were strange, illogical, chaotic. Ships would suddenly retreat, then attack from unexpected angles. Weapons would fire randomly, then suddenly focus. It looked like madness, but it worked. The swarm couldn't adapt because there was no pattern to learn. We'll teach you these tactics, Mirai said. We'll fight alongside you. We'll share what we know. But this is your fight. You have to win it yourselves. Why? Krenthis asked. If you help us, you could stay. You could rejoin the Council. We would welcome you back. Would you? Mirai asked quietly. Really? Or would you start fearing us again the moment the threat was over? Would you start seeing us as dangerous again? Silence in the Council chamber. Because she was right. Fear didn't disappear just because help was given. We're happy where we are, Mirai continued. We found freedom, family, purpose. We're not giving that up to come back to a place that never wanted us. Velrith stepped forward. I argued against expelling you. I've always believed it was wrong. If you help us survive this, I promise I will work to change how the Council thinks. To make sure we never repeat this mistake. Mirai nodded. I appreciate that, Counselor. And maybe someday the Council will be ready to meet the Coalition as equals, as partners instead of subjects. But that day isn't today. What do we need to do? Senthar asked, all business now. First, Mirai said, evacuate your military doctrine. Everything you know about warfare, forget it. We're going to teach you a new way. It will feel wrong, uncomfortable, chaotic, but it works. Second, Tajan added, divide your fleet into small independent units. No grand formations, no coordinated attacks. Each unit operates independently, chaotically. That's insane, Senthar said. How do we maintain command and control? You don't, Tajan said simply. Each captain makes their own decisions, trusts their own judgment, acts unpredictably. Our captains aren't trained for that. Then we'll train them. Fast, because the swarm will reach the Ulthan homeworld in 3 days. Mirai's image leaned forward. Understand this. We're not your saviors. We're not going to swoop in and fix everything. We're teachers, partners. You have to fight this battle yourselves. We'll just show you how. And when it's over? Krenthis asked. When it's over, Mirai said, we go back to our lives. You go back to yours. But we leave a communication channel open. If you ever need us again, if you ever ask with respect like you did this time, we'll help. That's our promise. We're not threatening you, Tajan added. We're not making demands or conditions. We're simply offering what we can give. Why? Krenthis asked, genuine confusion in his voice. After what we did to you, why help at all? Deho's image appeared one last time. This was a recent recording. He looked ancient now, close to death, but his voice was strong. Because that's what good people do, Deho said. They help when help is needed, regardless of past wrongs. We left your space with no hatred in our hearts. We built something beautiful out of our exile. And now we share that gift with you, not because you deserve it, but because it's right. The transmission ended. The council chamber was silent. Well, Mirai's voice came through. Do you accept our help? On our terms? Krenthis looked around at the other counselors. He saw fear, hope, shame, pride struggling with desperation. Finally, he spoke. Yes, we accept. Teach us, help us survive, and then go in peace with our thanks. Good, Mirai said. Then let's begin. We have 3 days to prepare, and a lot to learn. The training was brutal and fast. 3 days to learn what took the Coalition years to perfect. 3 days to unlearn centuries of military doctrine. Admiral Senthar stood on his bridge, feeling uncomfortable with everything. His fleet was divided into tiny groups. Each group had different orders. No coordination. No grand strategy. Just chaos. This feels wrong, he told the Coalition advisor assigned to his ship. She was a reptilian species he had never seen before, part of the Coalition's teaching team. It should feel wrong, she said. That's the point. Chaos feels wrong to you. That's why it works. On the Ulthan homeworld, billions of people waited. The swarm would arrive in hours. Above them, the combined Council and Coalition fleets prepared. Counselor Velrith watched from a command station on the surface. Beside him stood Explorer Kryn, who had insisted on being present for the battle. Do you think we can win? Kryn asked. I don't know, Velrith admitted, but at least we have a chance. Thanks to them. The swarm arrived exactly when predicted. Thousands of geometric ships moving in perfect formation. They approached the planet like a wave of metal and death. The Council fleet moved to intercept, but not in formation. In chaos, small groups of ships attacked from random directions. They fired, then retreated. They moved unpredictably, changing tactics every few seconds. Some ships flew in patterns that made no sense. Others stayed still, then suddenly burst into motion. The swarm tried to adapt. Its ships analyzed the Council tactics, searching for patterns. But there were no patterns to find. Coalition ships flew alongside Council vessels, demonstrating the techniques. Mirai's flagship danced through space, attacking, retreating, circling, changing approach constantly. Follow our lead, she broadcast to the Council ships. Don't think. Just react. Trust your instincts. It was hard. Council training emphasized discipline, order, following plans. Now they had to forget all of that. Some ships couldn't adapt. They stuck to old tactics and were destroyed. But others learned. They started moving randomly, fighting chaotically, and they survived. The battle lasted 14 hours. It was the longest, strangest battle the Council had ever fought. No grand maneuvers. No clever strategies. Just chaos against adaptation. Unpredictability against learning. And slowly the tide turned. The swarm couldn't learn from chaos. It tried. Its ships kept analyzing, adjusting, adapting. But every time it adapted to one tactic, the Council ships switched to something completely different. Young Officer Plethros commanded a destroyer in the battle. He stopped thinking about regulations and doctrine. He started flying like he imagined humans would fly, crazy, wild, unpredictable. His ship survived. More than survived. It thrived. I understand now, he said to his crew. This is what the humans brought to the galaxy. Not just technology, but a different way of thinking. By the time the battle ended, the swarm had been driven back. Not destroyed, but damaged badly enough that it retreated beyond the galactic rim. The Council fleet was battered. Half their ships were damaged or destroyed. But they had won. The Ulthan homeworld was safe. In the aftermath, the Council met with the Coalition representatives. Mirai, Tejan, Borahion, and others. Some faces aging from the Exodus. Some new faces, younger humans who had grown up in the Coalition. You did well, Mirai said. You learned fast. Not fast enough, Senthar said, looking at casualty reports. We lost thousands of ships. Millions of lives, but you learned, Tejan said. The swarm will be back someday. Maybe not for decades. Maybe not for centuries. But when it comes, you'll be ready. Will you be here to help again? Krenthis asked. If you ask with respect, Mirai said. Yes, we'll always help when asked properly. But we're not staying. Krenthis took a breath. Admiral Mirai. The Council wishes to formally apologize for our decision 53 years ago. We were wrong to expel you, wrong to fear you. We would welcome humanity and the Coalition back to galactic space. Full membership. Full rights. No restrictions, Mirai smiled sadly. I appreciate that, Counselor. I really do. But the answer is no. Why? Velrith asked. You've proven you're not dangerous. You saved us. Surely you can see you belong here now. No, Mirai said gently. We belong where we are. Out there in the spaces between your stars. With the other species you've pushed away. The ones you fear. The ones you don't understand. Yunji stepped forward. She was a captain now, young and confident. I was a child when we left. I barely remember Earth. The Coalition is my home. Those people out there are my family. I wouldn't trade that for anything. But what about Earth? Krenthis asked. What about your birth world? Earth is still there, Mirai said. Still human. The people who stayed behind built their own society, different from the Coalition. Different from what we would have been in your space. That's their choice, she paused. The truth is, Counselor, being expelled was the best thing that ever happened to us. It forced us to find our own path. To build something new instead of fitting into someone else's vision. We're grateful for that. So you're just going to leave again? Xanthar asked. Yes, Tajin confirmed. Our ships are already preparing to depart. We've left behind training materials, tactical databases, everything you need to defend yourselves. But the Coalition has its own territory to protect, our own people to care for. Dr. Bora, now in her late hundreds, spoke softly. We came because you asked. We helped because it was right. Now we're leaving because it's time. No threats, no promises. We simply depart. The Council members looked at each other. They had expected the Coalition to stay, to celebrate their victory, to take their place in galactic society. Instead, they were choosing to leave. I don't understand, Krenthis said. You have everything to gain by staying. Why go back to hiding? We're not hiding, Mirai said. We're living freely. There's a difference, and maybe someday you'll understand that. She stood. This is goodbye, Counselor. We've left a communication frequency, a secure channel. If you ever need us again, call. We'll answer. That's our standing offer to all species, even ones who wronged us. What about your technology? A Council scientist asked. Your ships are advanced beyond anything we have. Will you share it? Some of it, Hyun said. The basics. The rest you'll have to develop yourselves, or earn through friendship with the Coalition if you ever meet us as equals rather than subjects. Velrith stepped forward. I want to thank you, personally, for proving that we were wrong, for showing us a better way. Don't thank us, Mirai said. Thank yourselves. You swallowed your pride and asked for help. That took courage. Build on that. The Coalition ships began departing over the next 2 days. Not all at once. No dramatic exodus like before. Just ships slipping away quietly one by one. Admiral Mirai's flagship was among the last to leave. She stood on her bridge looking at the Olthan homeworld one last time. Any regrets? Her first officer asked. None, Mirai said. We did good work here. Saved billions of lives. Made some friends, maybe. That's enough. Where to now, home? Mirai said. Back to the Coalition. We've been gone too long. Her ship turned and jumped to hyperspace. Gone in an instant on the Olthan homeworld. Velrith and Kryn watched the last Coalition ship disappear. They really left, Kryn said. Just like that, just like last time, Velrith said. No threats, no promises. They simply departed. Do you think we'll see them again? Maybe, Velrith said. If we're lucky. If we earn it. If we become the kind of society that they'd want to visit instead of avoid. That's a big if. Yes, Velrith agreed. But it's worth working toward in the Coalition space. Far from the Council's reach, the returning ships were welcomed home. Billions of beings from dozens of species celebrated the victory, not because they defeated the swarm, but because they had helped others without asking for anything in return. Captain Yunji landed her ship on one of the Coalition's major stations. Her children ran to greet her. They were mixed species adopted from different worlds. That was common in the Coalition. Family wasn't about species. It was about love. Did you save them, Mama? Her youngest asked. We taught them to save themselves, Yunji said. That's better far away. Old Deho sat in his garden on Earth. He was over 120 years old now, too old to have joined the mission to help the Council, but he watched the reports with pride. We did good. he said to his assistant who sat with him. Will they understand? The assistant asked. Why we chose to leave instead of stay? Maybe not now, Deho said. But someday, when they're ready to see the galaxy as it really is, not as territories to control but as an endless frontier to explore. When they're ready to meet others as equals instead of subjects or threats, and until then, Deho said, we keep building our coalition. Keep finding the exiled and the refused. Keep showing them there's another way to live. Free, wild, chaotic, beautiful, he smiled. We don't need the Council's approval anymore. We never did. That's the gift they gave us when they expelled us. Freedom on the edge of coalition space. A communications station monitored the frequency left for the Council. It had been 3 months since the battle. No calls yet. Maybe there never would be, but the station stayed active. Ready. Waiting because that was the human way. To help when sked. To answer when called. To extend hands even to those who had pushed them away. No threats. No promises. Just an open door and somewhere in the vast darkness between stars,